Brought to you by the TGEM Network. The podcast you're about to listen to is just about people coming together and sharing experiences, and is in no way an advice show. Enjoy.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Real Talk with Strong Minds. I'm Amanda Lambert, a registered health and exercise practitioner, and I'm the owner of Strong Minds, a health and wellness company that specializes in fitness-based therapy. We give alternative options to people's care and treatment plans and really focus on a whole holistic approach. I'm so happy to be here today and talk to you all about coping mechanisms. In this episode, we will discuss things like, when do people need coping mechanisms? What is unhealthy coping mechanisms, examples of healthy coping skills, and a 3-step process for dealing with unhealthy coping mechanisms. So when do people need coping mechanisms? People may need coping mechanisms when they are facing difficult or stressful situations in their lives, such as a significant life change, trauma, loss, or chronic stress. Coping mechanisms can help individuals manage their emotional and physical responses to these challenges and improve their overall well-being. So, unhealthy coping mechanisms are behaviors or strategies that people use to deal with stress, emotions, or difficult situations, but that ultimately end up causing more harm than good. An unhealthy coping mechanism is anything that you do to relieve yourself of pain in a way that actually continues the pain over the long term. It is important to recognize these behaviors and work towards developing healthier coping mechanisms. Some examples of healthy coping mechanisms are practicing deep breathing or meditation, engage in physical exercise or yoga, and that's what my company is all about. We believe that physical activity significantly helps our overall health. And I got certified a few years ago in yoga, and it has significantly changed my life for the better. And I now implement this into my own clients' care and treatment plan. And even, they have stated that they feel significantly better by implementing these practices. Connecting with friends or family for support. This is a really important one. We have to ensure that we have a support system in place. Whether you are the healthiest person or not, you need to have a support system. Writing in a journal or doing creative activities, listening to music or watching a movie, practice mindfulness or self-compassion. Setting achievable goals and tracking progress. This is an important one because we need to ensure that we are setting ourselves up for success, not failure. This is what I've implemented in my own life, as well as my clients' care plans. We want to ensure that people are set up for success, not failure. So when we set achievable goals, that will significantly help us not fail. If we're setting ourselves up for outlandish goals that we know that are not achievable, that's when we can really develop a lot of negative self-talk. And that's leading into my next one, avoiding negative self-talk and focus on positive affirmations. We want to take breaks and prioritize self-care. And this one can be very challenging, especially if you're a mom. So my child's 2.5, and I honestly put myself last sometimes because we are so focused on other people's well-being that we tend to kind of forget about our own. So seeking professional help if needed. Asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. And this is what I try to really, encourage people to understand, is that when we ask for help, that is a sign of strength, not weakness. We want to practice gratitude and focus on what you are thankful for. And this practice has significantly changed my life. I am thankful for the littlest things. Like when I'm tying my shoe, I will say thank you to my higher power for me being able to put on shoes. When I put my jacket on, when I'm walking to my Jeep, if I'm playing with my son, when I'm eating, I'm just constantly saying thank you for all of the things that I have versus focusing on the things that I don't have. And when you really start practicing that, I can guarantee that your life will change for the better. Engaging in hobbies or activities that you enjoy, limiting exposure to stressful situations or people. This is huge. The best thing that I ever did for myself was eliminating all the toxic people in my life. This was a very hard thing to do, but it was probably the best thing that I ever did. I remember it like it was yesterday. I just remember the moment that I was like, I cannot be friends with these people. They are doing nothing but causing me like harm. They don't see like my values. They're bringing me down, not up. And the second that I decided to eliminate these individuals, my life changed for the better. Yes, it was difficult. There was a few, difficult months when I made that decision, but in the long run, it was the best thing that I've ever done for myself. So if you're, listening today and you're hearing this, I know that it's difficult to make those decisions, but I can promise you that if there are people in your life that are just constantly bringing you down and you just feel like yucky when you're around them, get rid of them. And you will honestly thank yourself in the long run. Finding humor in difficult situations, practicing time management and prioritizing tasks, practicing relaxation techniques such as a bath, massage, or aromatherapy, engaging in volunteer work or acts of kindness. My motto is when you help others, you're helping yourself. So when you volunteer your time or when you're doing acts of kindness, you are actually helping yourself. Yes, you're helping that person, but in the end, you're actually helping yourself. You want to learn a new skill or take up a new hobby. Practicing assertiveness and set healthy boundaries. This is a very difficult one. I remember the very first boundary that I had set, and it was with my father, and it did not go over well at all. And this was something that my whole support team was telling me that I needed to do, and I did it. It was very uncomfortable, but now like I can set boundaries like so quick. And some people don't like that, and that's okay, because if you can look at yourself in the mirror and you are happy with what you see, that is all that matters. It does not matter if this person likes you, if this person respects you. If you like yourself and you respect yourself, that is all that matters at the end of the day. So set those healthy boundaries. Seeking social support from support groups or counseling services. Again, I really want to state that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. And when we feel like we need, a lot more support than what we might have, asking for help with, let's just say, seeking counseling or therapy is a big sign of strength. And it's something that lots of people can benefit from. I know that there can be some things that might stand in the way from that, like financial barriers. And if that is something that you're facing, there is other alternative options, like potentially joining a support group in your hometown. And if there isn't one, create a support group and be that change. So the next thing I want to talk about is a 3-step process for dealing with unhealthy coping mechanisms. You essentially need to acknowledge the pain and do something about it before you can go from unhealthy coping mechanisms to healthy coping mechanisms. So first, you want to do some research. You have to figure out what it is that is tormenting you. Write a list or speak the issue out loud if you need to. This will kind of help identify what is going on within yourself. Then you want to identify the negative coping mechanisms you want to change. So if you're like most people, you probably don't even realize that the way you're coping is unhealthy. So for example, if you are working out every day of the week, that's great and it's a healthy behavior. However, this really depends if it's preventing you from hanging out with your friends, or if this is making you obsess over your body more than you obsess over your relationships or your life. So if this is the case, then yeah, like it might not be such a good thing. And then we want to replace and repeat your unhealthy coping mechanisms. So lots of people jump to this final step before they've done the work in steps 1 and 2. And we only want to do something new when we know why we're doing it. So never do something just because someone's telling you to do it. You need to know why you're doing it. So here's where a list could come in handy again. For behavior change to stick, there has to be intention behind it. Each positive coping mechanism that you try can get closer to the one that is right for you. So everyone's going to be different. Not all coping mechanisms are going to work for every single person. You have to kind of, it's like trial and error. You want to try a couple. If you're not really liking them, try another. That's why I listed almost 20 healthy coping mechanisms that you can choose from, because not everyone is going to like the same things. And that's something that we really need to understand, is that what will work for one person might not work for another person. So start by writing down 10 activities that you could do that could help ease whatever pain you're in that won't prolong the pain in the long term. I also find having coping cards on hand really helpful. And I actually found my coping cards that I used to rely on years ago when I was cleaning my office the other day. And I want to just share a little bit with you. So the first page on my coping cards is, what is one thing that you are most grateful for today? What was your biggest highlight from today? What was one challenging thing that you experienced today? What is at least one thing you learned from that challenge? And what is one goal you plan to accomplish tomorrow? I really like that. And then there's some really cute affirmations that are in here too that I want to share. So pause and take some slow, deep breaths. It may not seem like it now, but this feeling will eventually pass. It will not last forever. Resist the urge to isolate. Reach out to a friend or family member. I may not feel like doing this right now, but I know that I usually feel better after I do this. What am I worrying about? How likely is this to occur? Evaluate the evidence. If I find myself focusing on negatives, I can counter this by identifying and writing down 3 to 5 positive things. Positive things may include what went well today, things I am grateful for, things I am looking forward to. Change is hard, but it's worth it. Making a mistake does not mean that I am a failure. Everyone makes mistakes. Zoom out, look at the whole picture. Relaxation technique, visual imagery, close my eyes and imagine myself in a calm, peaceful setting, whatever that is for you. Reduce urges to avoid anxiety provoking situations. Avoidance may seem like an effective short-term strategy, but it maintains and worsens my anxiety over time. The only way out is through. Face it and work through it in order to gain control over it. Self-criticism doesn't help. It just contributes to the problem by making me feel worse. I will try to respond to my self-critic thoughts with self-compassion. Let it go. I will let go of anything that no longer serves me. I love that one. Change can be scary, but the alternative is staying stuck. I choose change. And isn't that so true? Like, change is so scary for people. And I kind of recently went through this myself where, we were seeing a lot of changes within the company. And I knew that if I kind of stayed where I was, I would be, stuck. But also, going through that change is super scary because there's tons of thoughts that, come into play when you're making changes. So I really like that one. I deserve to be happy. This storm will pass. Self-soothe through the senses. So taste, hearing, touch, smell, vision. And the examples that I have here are for taste, drink a warm herbal tea. Hearing, listen to calming music. Touch, massage lotion into your skin. Smell, light a scented candle. Vision, look at photographs in a book. Stop focusing on the past. I can shift my attention to the present by practicing a mindfulness exercise. Oh, this one I love. Perfect isn't possible. Remember to set reasonable goals. Otherwise, I will inevitably be disappointed and unsatisfied. And someone once told me, her name's Lauren, and I will never forget her. I met her in treatment. She wrote me, it was like on a little piece of paper, and it was, "You are as perfect exists." And it's true. Perfection is not possible. So let that go. There is no such thing as perfect. Challenge all or nothing thinking. Find the shade of gray between the black and white. Panic attack tip. Ride it out. Label what I'm experiencing as anxiety. Accept it. Do not fight it or try to control it. Use grounding techniques. Remember that this will not last forever. It is unpleasant, but it will eventually pass. Oh, I love this one. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. Look around, identify and name 5 things that you see, 4 things that you physically feel, 3 things that you hear, 2 things that you smell, and 1 thing that you taste. Progress is not linear. Be patient and don't give up. This is huge. This is something that I often will tell myself in recovery, because progress is not linear. Recovery is not linear. Recovery looks like If you could see me, it's like you go straight, then you go back, and then it's like all over. So that's something that significantly has helped me. I will not let my past define me. I will try to observe my thoughts without judgment, use a healthy coping strategy. For example, go for a walk, write in a journal, spend time coloring, meditate, listen to music. And those are some things that I mentioned up above. Tough days don't erase the progress I've made. I love that. It's okay to ask for help. Yes, I've mentioned that earlier in the podcast. Reduce physical vulnerability to overwhelming emotions by prioritizing balanced eating and balanced sleeping habits. Tolerate uncertainty. So, what I want to leave you with is this. This is your life, the only one that you've got. It's time to acknowledge the pain that you're in. I personally have issues that needle away at my mind and cause me to lose sleep, and I'm no different than anyone else. The only major difference is that I've made the commitment to embrace pain and tackle it head on, and you can do this too. Mental health professionals can be handy, but they are typically expensive. So if this is not an option for you, you can build healthy coping skills and positive coping mechanisms on your own with the things that I've mentioned in today's episode. And always know that you can reach out to us at Strong Minds anytime, and our team will gladly help you develop your own self-care plan on how to implement healthy coping skills into your daily life. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you learned something really important today, and I hope to see you all back for our next episode. Thank you.